Hi, and welcome to part 5 of my series of the guitars of Sonny Williamson II. And I'm trying to show you some of the ideas to use when you're playing behind a harmonica player or playing with another guitar player and you're trying to get that old school Chicago blues sound like you'd hear on the chess recordings. When I was learning guitar, I listened religiously to the Little Walter and the Sonny Boy stuff because there's so many cool licks and fills and rhythm guitar ideas. And I've learned a lot of these and I'm trying to share them with you. And let's get into the turnarounds. There's so many neat blues turnarounds. When you're coming to the end of a verse, you know, it's nice to use different turnarounds, not use the same thing over and over again, which a lot of blues guys unfortunately do. So the creativity to be able to end a verse differently, that's something I want to help you with. And in the playing of the guitar players behind Sonny Boy Williamson, you can get a lot of good ideas. Let's start with double stop type turnarounds, and those are the type that you hear a lot of. I'm going to use the key of G for my examples here, the first examples. And here's one example of a turnaround. So if the song is in G, when it gets to the turnaround, you hear this. Or you might hear. Either one of those. So let me show you both. It's just we're using the double stop lick that we learned in the second or third lesson. And what I'm doing is first finger on the second and third strings at the third fret. And then I'm starting the lick by hammering on the second and third strings with my second finger on the third string. Now I'm hitting it twice, 2 picks. Then I'm flattening my ring finger on the 5th fret, second and third strings, and then just sliding that to the 6th fret. And then back to the beginning, just like that. That's the turnaround. Then to end it, you can play a 7th chord, that's just a C7th, so that's a D7th. Or I can use a 9th and walk into it from a step above. So that fill, that turnaround, you hear in a lot of tunes. There's a song called Your Funeral and My Trial, which is really cool. He does it in D. Something like that. F, I've heard him use it in F. And that is a cool double stop turnaround. Pretty simple. Here's another one. And I'm going to show you a lot of variations of this. This is from a tune called I Don't Know. And in this tune, he actually uses 3 or 4 different versions of the same thing. And the tune is in C. Sounds like it's in like C sharp or something. But I'm going to play it in C. And at the end of the verse, he uses this lick in a lot of different ways. So here's my first position C bar chord. And this is a double stop where I've got my first finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, second finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And I'll show you one way he uses it. He gets to the end, or goes from the 5 to the 4. Let me show you. I'll just do it. So it goes from the G to the F. Then he plays this. So there's one way to use that. And I'm just sliding down and then back into it. Or actually I'm sliding into it from below. Now bouncing off the root note, the C, at the 10th fret of the 4th string. Just like that. Now another version of that same idea, he does this. And now we're using an abbreviated version of our C major chord. Kind of a 3-fingered version where I've got my first finger barring the 1st and 2nd strings at the 8th fret, and then my second finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And I'm just doing the same thing. With my picking, I'm sliding in, down, up. So from down, that. Like that, and then the ninth chord to wrap it up. So there's another version. Now you could also do that same type of thing, but don't play the chord, just play the double stop. So instead of this, you hear the chord sound. I'm just playing the double stop, just the second and third string. So there are like 3-4 different double stops you could use in that same song. We could play, or we could play, or we could play, or we could play. Lots of ideas there. Another one, which is used out of the double stop shape in more of the slower tunes, is something that's really kind of cool. It's that same general idea with the double stops. And there's a tune called Cross Your Heart where he does a bunch of these. And again, he uses the same lick and then mixes it up. Plays it differently almost every time he gets to the turnaround. So here's one idea of doing this. Listen to this. It's a slow tune. I'm going to come from the 5 into it. See, I'm just playing that same lick, but slow. And then there. Now he does this another way, where he plays it like this. Or he'll use the 7th chord. It's like this. So the lick, all I'm doing is taking my ring finger and flattening it just like I would if I was doing this. But I'm playing it slow. When he does those 7th chords, at the 5, when he's doing the turnaround, sometimes it sounds like he's playing an augmented chord, something like this. What I'm doing is if I make a C7th shape, this is G7th chord, I'm taking my pinky off the 10th fret of the 3rd string. I'm taking my first finger and I'm getting both the 2nd and 3rd strings at the 8th fret. You get that sound. This is so far in the background on these recordings. If you listen to Cross Your Heart, it's hard to tell if he's doing just a straight 7th chord or this. Either one works and they both sound cool as part of the turnaround. Let's get back to this C shape. Now another thing he does in a tune called Unseen Eye, he does a little variation of this. I'm going to go down and play it in G because that's where it is in the song. And he does something like this. So it's a slower tune. And what he's doing is he's going from that double stop at the 5th fret on the 2nd and 3rd strings, that flattened out ring finger, and he's taking it up 2 frets. And then back to the 1, which is kind of cool. And then going into the turnaround. So he starts with that first double stop. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. Something like this. But it's the same idea. And that is also out of a double stop. That's one I need to listen to again, but that's the idea. Let me go back to Cross Your Heart and show you one I do know note for note here. In the key of C, he does something like this. which is a really neat turnaround where he combines the double stop with a single string type thing. So let me do it again. Like that. What he's doing, it's just really a C chord. So I'm getting the C chord with that first finger on the 8th fret, first and second strings, and he's raking it. So like this. Goes to that, and he rakes that, and then right to the 6th note or the 10th fret of the second string. And then, one tune I hear him doing this on, he goes to the 10th fret of the 4th string, and then into that little hammer-on pull-off on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. There's another one where I hear him do this. So he's going, and then to the 10th fret of the 3rd string, and then right to that thing. And that is a cool turnaround. You can do it any key. So in G, let's say we have a tune coming down from the 5. And so on. So that's another double stop turnaround idea. You're using really the chord shape to play that. Another idea, simple turnaround, some others that you hear in the Sonny Boy Williamson guitar playing. One is a very standard Chicago blues type thing, which is something like this. Let's say we're playing in the key of G. And there you're sliding on the 5th, or it's a double stop based on the 5th and the 3rd string. And what I'm doing, here's my chord. I'm starting at the 5. My finger, ring finger, or I can use my second finger, is on the 5, which is the D note, 5th fret of the 5th string. And then my first finger is on the 3rd string at the 4th fret. So we're starting and then just going down or up. Like that. And you can bring that the other way. Or go down, up. And you can move that around if you're playing in C. Or you can even play it if you use your finger. All kinds of variations. So you can do it up or down, up. The other way. And those are another example of a Sonny Boy type turnaround. You hear that. Now if you play with the capo, if you got the capo on, let's say we're playing in G, then we just start it right here. So we're just play it right up next to the neck, which is there with the capo. So that's it. Okay, let's get another idea for a turnaround. It does a lot of single string turnarounds, and there's a tune called which one? Your Funeral and My Trial, which he does a cool little turnaround. This time he's playing in D, and this sounds like Luther Tucker playing. This is the kind of lick that Luther Tucker would play. And when he gets the turnaround, let's say we're playing in D, so it's a song from the A. He does that single string type thing. Like that. So again, we did this earlier when we were doing the single string fills. So he's going, got my first finger on the 10th fret of the second string, second and third fingers on the 11th and 12th frets of the third string. And I'm bending up and then getting the second and the first string at the 10th fret And then I'm taking my pinky to the 13th fret of the second string with my first finger anchoring on the 10th fret. And then I'm doing that hammer-on pull-off type thing. So the whole thing. Then I'm doing a bend on the 3rd string with my first finger on 10th, 11th, 12th frets. Then just wrapping it up with a hammer-on pull-off on the 12th fret of the 4th string. So the whole lick. And the chord to wrap up the turnaround. That's one style of a single string turnaround. Another, he plays a lot like the Myers Brothers and the Little Walter stuff, where they're doing some single string turnarounds. There's a tune called Love in Vain, or Let Me Explain. I always get those two mixed up. I think it's Love in Vain, where the turnarounds, he mixes it up. So the tune goes from the 5 to the 4 to the 1 like this. And he does a turnaround, just a single string. Single string round, something like that. What I'm doing is starting on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, then I'm hammering on to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, then I'm going to the 3rd to the 5th fret on the 2nd string, then I'm going to my first finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, hammering on, pulling off on the 5th fret of the 1st string. Then I'm coming from the 6th to the 5th to the 4th. No, I'm sorry, the 6th to the 5th to the 3rd on the 2nd string. Then to the 5th fret of the 3rd string. And then that little hammer-on pull-off thingy again. So the whole thing. And you can hammer on, pull off as much as you want on that last one. And he does some variations on that same idea. This time, variation 2, I'm starting from the 6th fret of the 1st string to the 3rd fret, and then that hammer on the 3rd, 5th fret of the 1st string, and then the rest of it's the same as the first one. So the whole thing. Another variation on that same thing is where he just stays away from the 1st string. So here I'm doing the same thing. This time I'm going down from the 2nd, 3rd to the 5th to the 6th fret and then back on the 2nd string. And then I'm doing that just a little bend on the 3rd string with my first finger here still anchored on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. Then I get the 5th fret of the 3rd string and then back to that. So the whole thing. And there's another single string turnaround. If you listen to the recordings, there's just a ton of different little variations on the same idea. Something else you could do, you could start on that note on the 5th fret. And you can make up a whole bunch of different ones, so I'm not going to take you through that one. Here's another single string turnaround you hear sometimes, something like this behind Sonny Boy. I'm going to play it in G. Now I'm playing starting on the root note, the G, on the 5th fret of the 4th string. Playing that little turnaround instead of, just gives you a different sound. Something like that. So I'm going from the 5th fret of the 5th string, and chromatically from the 3rd to the 4th to the 5th fret on the 3rd string. Then I'm coming back to that. And I'm actually going 3rd fret of the 3rd string, and coming back to the 5th fret of the 4th string. And then 5th fret of the 5th string, like that. So walking from the 3rd, 4th, 5th fret on the 4th string. There's another example of a single string turnaround that you can use. To finish up, I'm just going to go back and talk about some bass string turnarounds. I showed you a little bit of these. I didn't really explain them when we were doing the bass string rhythms. I'm going to put my capo on the 3rd fret, so we're in the key of G, and when the tune's called like Don't Start Me Talking and a couple others, he uses this bass turnaround. Something like that. And that's a typical blues turnaround. So when he's playing with the capo, this is a turnaround that you'll hear. So I'm just hammering on, which is the G note. That's on the 4th string, 2nd fret, open, and then on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, just like that. Then to the 1st fret of the 5th string, and open. And then to the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and open. Whole thing. So there's the first part. Then 3rd fret of the 6th string, open, 5th string, 1, 2. Then your chord. And go into the song or stop time, whatever it is that you're doing. And you can do a lot of variations using that same idea. That time I started on the open 6th string. And I can go to back to that root note, back to the G. Or I can do something like this. Into the tune, a lot of different things, but that's a standard turnaround idea that you hear in a lot of blues tunes, and you do hear it in some of Sonny Boy's stuff, mainly when they're using the capo, so you can get that position. Sonny Boy doesn't play an E much. He plays an F, G, C, D, and then a couple weird keys, A flat, things like that. Alright, hope this helps you, and when I come back again, I'm going to take some time, I'm going to put together some backing tracks, and I want to come back and show you all these ideas and put them in context and play them over a rhythm so you can hear what the heck I'm talking about. And I'll do that as soon as I can. Keep an eye out, I've got another series on the guitars behind Little Walter. And a lot of these same ideas that I've shown you in these 5 lessons, you're going to hear again in the playing of Dave and Louis Myers and the other people who play guitar behind Little Walter. And you can use this information to help you learn that stuff and see the differences, very subtle differences between the guitar styles behind both those guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back again with another lesson. Thank you.